again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Favorite time of the week, but not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews and your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. Well, what's up, Broncos country? This is the first post-game show we have done here this season, and it seems fitting. You know, the Broncos are not mathematically eliminated. According to DENvsLV.com, with a loss to the Raiders, we now have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. So I figured it's time for us to start, share some thoughts. Very, I'd say a bigger game than last week in terms of the emotions and the fact it was the Raiders and the fact that they beat us earlier this year and everything. And so we want to get your thoughts and give you a chance to interact with us and share some ideas and whatnot. Because I mean, while Jared might sit here and say that we're not mathematically eliminated, I mean, a 1% chance to me means we're mathematically eliminated. So glad you're here. Look, we're going to keep going strong as we always do. And the reason, you know, Orange Weekly was created was for us as fans to come together and share in the happy times and the bad times. And I'd say this is the 2021 season low point. And there's a lot to talk about following this game. So I do have Facebook up. We might listen to some of the post-game press conferences just for a little bit to get some idea of what Fangio and company are saying. But I do have Rob with me here, obviously, and a lot of people in the comments. Daniel, Dan, Pat, thanks for being here. Frederick, Donnie, Johnny, Andrew, glad you're here. We'll pull up some of your comments. But Rob, I'll start with you, man, to give you a chance to speak about your thoughts on the game. And pretty much everything I've been hearing up and through this week was in order for Fangio, especially Fangio, not just Shermer, but Fangio to keep his job, we needed to win all 3 games. Here we are on the road, with Drew Lock, the backup QB, but we still are unable to do absolutely anything on offense. What do you think, man? And I'm going to drink while you talk.
Kevin, I sure as hell hope you got the bleep button ready because I'm fucking over it.
Oh, no, here at Orange Weekly, hey, just so everyone knows, we are not necessarily family friendly here at Orange Weekly. So if you have kids nearby, this might be the time to send them in the other room and be like, hey, go play with the toys Santa brought you because we got some serious shit to talk about.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking over it. Like, I don't understand. I just don't get it. And they kept cutting the fucking Fangio and McMahon on the sideline. Get his ass the fuck out of town, too.
Oh, no, he'll be around.
I can't stand all 3 of them. And the best is this game, we didn't even have a lot of dumb penalties working against us. Mm-hmm. Drew Lock didn't have any interceptions.
No,
but Shermer
was actually turnover free.
Yes, but Shermer did not run the goddamn ball. Absolutely unbelievable. Get him the hell out of town.
Yeah.
You know what? That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, so, a lot of the time throughout the course of the season, and I don't want to go too much into postseason talk. Believe me, there's going to be plenty of time for that. And here at Orange Weekly, we're going to bring you a lot of podcasts and shows about postseason, pre-off-season talk and everything. So I don't want to go too much down this rabbit hole, but during the course of the entire season, how many times have we said Shermer gave up on the run game? What it ended up being was the Broncos ended up having oh my God, I don't even want to say this number. I thought it was higher than this. Broncos ended up having 18 rushing yards for an average of. We didn't give up on a run game because we didn't have a run game.
No, he didn't even he did. I'm telling you, Kevin, we've been preaching this from all season, basically. All freaking fucking season.
Hey, Dan, where are you hearing this? Put in the comments. Where are you seeing this from? Or do you have an inside source or something? I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, who's going to take, at this point, let Fangio take over the last 2 games. It doesn't matter, right? What is replacing Fangio right now doing for anybody? And I'm looking for any post-game press conferences to pop up on Facebook. So they may or may not, but yeah. So, I mean, 1.1 yards per average, 16 carries for 18 yards. I mean, Javonte Williams with 12 yards. Melvin Gordon actually ended the day 7 carries, -4 yards with a -0.6 yards per carry. I'm laughing because if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. And the inside joke here at Orange Weekly is that's what I'm going to use my Kleenex for. And I always have some Kleenex nearby for tears, of course. I told you this wasn't family friendly. I warned you all. And now you're like, oh, kids need to go away. Let's see.
I'm just gonna start holding up the parental advisory sign.
Look, if I don't laugh, I'm gonna cry at this point.
We'll make it 5 minutes into the show, and then we'll go, okay, kids, time to go to bed.
Let's see.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous, dude. Melvin Gordon, -yards. -yards?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Kevin, look, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. You and I are about the same height and weight. We could have still had positive yards.
I would like to think so. Like at least
Kevin,
0.
I know so.
At least 0. Like I just run into the guy in front of me and get to the line of scrimmage, but
just run into the guy in front of you and then just fall down.
Nicole. So here's the thing, and look, I would love to keep Fangio as our defensive coordinator, but let's imagine right now, this is all speculatory. We don't know what George Payton is going to do, but let's imagine that what will happen is what we think will happen, and Payton will fire Fangio as the head coach. Bring a new head coach in. A new head coach is going to want to bring in their own people, the people they trust, the people they feel will set them up best for success. Now, it's not impossible for somebody who was a head coach with a team to come in as an assistant, if you will. In fact, it happened with the Avalanche a number of years ago where the head coach was fired and then came back on as an assistant coach. I moved my mic there. So it's not impossible. Obviously, Fangio will be available. I can't see any team wanting to pick him up as a head coach, so he'll primarily be looking for a defensive coaching job. You have a lot of things going on. George Payton cannot say, hey, Mr. Future Head Coach, I'll hire you as long as you bring Fangio on as the defensive coordinator. If that was me, I would say, wait, you're telling me right off the bat you're not going to give me control of who my staff is? I don't like this situation at all. This gives me a bad taste in my mouth. This gives me a bad feeling. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but I would bet a lot of money that we would want to wash our hands of the Vic Fangio everything. So as good as a defensive play caller as he is, I just don't see it happening because we're going to want to move on completely. It's very awkward for the staff, for the players to have somebody who was the head coach now not be the head coach. Imagine this, like your boss gets fired, but then gets brought back in almost as your assistant. Like, who do you listen to? It's like, do I listen to my new assistant boss, or my new head boss? Because they were both kind of my bosses. It's a very weird situation.
Get them out of town.
We need to wipe the slate clean, Nicole. And so that's where I would say with your comment, like, I would not mind it, but at the same time, it's very likely to add a lot of confusion into the mix, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you were saying, it definitely just get them out now. I mean, essentially a 1% chance, Kev. Like, I can't even fathom the numbers if we were to, miraculously win the last 2 games. And after the shellacking the Chiefs gave the Steelers today, there's no fucking way. And I have tried to be, positive and hopeful and keep the faith and everything. But Jesus, Mary and Joseph, like, at what point does Patton and whatever just look at him and go, nah, just pack your shit and get out?
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping the other guys eventually join us and see that we're live or something. I like to hear from their point of view from being being at the game. Yeah, Nicole, that's pretty much the underlying theme here is fresh start, right? You want to bring somebody in. To me, what's more important than anything is I want somebody who can come in and change the culture. After the Vance Joseph era, and now after what will probably be the former Vic Fangio era, more than anything, I want somebody who can come in here and change the culture. They don't necessarily have to be the best at the offensive play calling, defensive play calling. They don't even necessarily have to be the best former head coach of all time. I mean, if they were a former head coach and got fired, they probably weren't the best, right? I mean, only a few people can say that, like Mike Shanahan, and I'm not going to say his name from the Patriots because I hate him so much.
Fuck him too.
Fuck him too. Yeah, Tom Brady and him too. This team needs a culture change, and someone like Dan Quinn, who was the head coach of Atlanta. We saw we did Atlanta. They were okay. Went to the Super Bowl. Obviously, we know what happened in the Super Bowl. Went to Dallas, been the assistant defensive coordinator. So now there'd be a lot of backlash from fans for hiring another defensive-minded person. But what Dan Quinn would provide is a complete cultural overhaul of this team. And that's what we need more than anything. I don't know if he would last more than 3 years. But let's be honest, like, this team needs something completely fresh. We need to move on from I'm going to just be honest and say it, the mediocrity, the averageness of this team. And Rob's gone. And there he is. And I mean, we've been mediocre at best. So George Payton's going to want to put his own stamp on this team, especially knowing that a new owner is coming in, if not this year, then the year after, probably this year. He's going to want to put his own stamp on the team. And to turn this team around, you're going to need a complete culture overhaul within the organization.
Yeah, no, and I agree with
Gary.
Yep. Yeah, Gary's comment that we need to start it at the top. We need a freaking owner. We need someone that's gonna, when they come in the locker room, the players are gonna be like, oh shit, the owner's here. Like, we need somebody that is going to, give them that, look, this is what I expect. If you don't do it, you're out. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't have that right now. I mean, honestly, McManus, the kicker, was yelling at the coach. The kicker.
That's the second time that's happened visibly.
Like, nobody fears Fangio. There's not like Fangio comes in, everybody's like, that doesn't happen.
Can you imagine some player other than John Elway? I could see John Elway getting away with this. But some other player other than John Elway going up to Mike Shanahan and yelling at him in front of everybody else and getting away with it.
Shanahan would have punched him square in the mouth.
Yeah.
Period.
Can you imagine can you imagine Bolin seeing that?
Pat Bolin probably would have thrown a
allowing
punch.
that. Sorry, I've been drinking. I have the Mr. B pin on my head, and I know that's like people are gonna comment on that. I can't believe you just said that. Pat Bolin. Okay, I'm sorry. Been drinking. Can you see Pat Bolin allowing that to happen? He would see that, and if Mike Shanahan didn't stand up for himself, which he would, Pat Bolin would come down and be like, dude, you're fucking gone.
I don't know.
I don't care how good you are. Maybe because you're John Elway, I'm gonna let this one slide. But anybody else, you're gone.
Hey, look, all the respect in the world to Pat Bolin, but he is rolling in his grave right now.
Yeah.
Because if he was still alive, there's no way in hell this team, this organization would be in this much disarray. Whether he was in his right mind or not. He might be yelling at the coach thinking he's Dan Reeves again, but hey, there's still an owner there. He would still, have that spit and vinegar, and we don't have anybody. And at this point, exactly. At this point, I almost, Kev, I don't even know if I should say this.
Do it.
Give the team to the Bolin boy. Let him come in there and start throwing his weight around. I mean, shit.
I mean, that's a whole legal thing. I mean, at this point, there's a chance with the Pat Bolin Trust that one of the Bolin boys could end up being the president of the Bolin Trust. Now that Joe Ellis has already said before this season that he's going to step down, but they're not going to run the team. And what this team needs, like Andrew is saying, Andrew Workman, you need accountability. Andrew Cregan. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen your name before. Andrew Cregan, thanks for joining the show. It starts at the top. You need an owner. And the closest Bolin to being an owner, I think, is Brittany. I think Bethany is the one that is throwing a huge hissy fit. I'm going to call it as I see it. And I don't say lost the legal battles, but the legal battles are more or less done. So you need a new owner to come in. Somebody that's going to be dedicated to winning, hold people accountable. And that's what we're missing. So
I got another scenario for you, Kev.
Let's do it.
Let's say we get a new owner, right? But
God, I hope so.
Also, let's say that Peyton Manning is part owner.
Okay.
And the new owner's like, nah, I don't want to be down there. Like, I want you to go down there and straighten their asses out. You know damn well if Peyton Manning walked in the locker room, like, Locke would be like, oh, I'm screwed.
Right.
Now, it's so frustrating.
Look, with that comment, what I'm going to say is, one, we are very quickly and probably starting this week, if you haven't seen already, we are in the part of the season that we've become accustomed to when we're not going to be in the playoffs / in the off season, where the only thing that will get you to read the articles and listen to the radio shows is the rumor mill. And we if you've never watched Orange Weekly before, we try to avoid that. We will straight up say, look, this is a rumor. We really don't believe that'll happen. We are not a clickbait organization. We will avoid everything. We will lose followers before we become a clickbait organization. And not to say that other companies out there that post these articles are bad necessarily. I'm just saying that that's not who we are. We're not going to post an article with a headline like Peyton Manning eats how many pounds of fudge at Christmas?
18.
Yeah, 18 is probably the answer. That'd be me. Look at me. I need to lose some weight. But look, we're gonna be in that cycle of rumor mill. Does Peyton Manning have enough money to become a substantial part of an ownership? Probably not. Now, does that mean a new owner could come in, bring him on as part of the ownership team, like a minority owner, and yet still give him a big role within the organization? No, but you also got to remember that Peyton Manning is very much loving his job. Yeah, and his job is goofing around. Doing the Monday Night Football broadcast with his brother, and taking his kids to school. and going golfing and being the Madden game ratings adjuster and giving Tom Brady a 44 rating. Like, he's loving his job right
He
now.
should have gave his ass a 12 because
He
that's
should've-
his jersey number.
I'm surprised it wasn't lower, okay? But I'm not getting paid to be the Madden's rating adjuster. Nobody cares what I think. That's just me. But yeah, so look, could that happen? Yes. Are we going to find ourselves in the situation where we're in the rumor mill era? Yes, that's very much where we're at. I'm trying to see if there are any where the post. I usually get a notification when the post game press conference is going on. I haven't seen anything yet. So I wanted to,
The only one I thought I saw was the one on Facebook, but
yeah, that's what I have up is Facebook. But let's see. Look, Nicole, yeah, Peyton is the boss. Look, I mean, if you're any player and Peyton Manning walks in the room, you go, ooh, like, especially if he's about to lay into you, right?
I would, and I'm not even a player.
Andrew, this right here, the organization apathetic, and this is what I was trying to say. You know, they can start by hiring Vic when the plane touches the ground tonight. Again, what is that going to do other than you fire him 2 weeks early? Whoop-de-doo. Now, here's the one thing I will say. One of the NFL rules for this year only, as of right now it stands, is that if you fire your head coach during the season, you can interview potential candidates in the last 2 weeks of the season. And that's where we're at. You can't hire anyone, but you can get a competitive edge by jumping the gun and starting to interview some of these potential head coaches that you want. And the only two teams that are in that category right now are the Raiders and the Jaguars. What do we, I mean, is that going to really do anything? Because you can't make any offers. They can't officially accept anything until the new season officially begins.
You can get a 2-week head start on it.
But so that's the question. Is that what George Payton is going to, is that what George Payton is going to do? Is going to fire Fangio so that they can officially start interviewing people? Because look, let's face it. Teams have backway conversations. Hey, and it's not Tom. I know I said that last time. I said Tim Tom. And someone's like, isn't that a GPS thing? No, that's that's Tom. Somebody goes to Tim Tom and says, hey, Tim Tom, go talk to this coach over here and ask him if they'd be interested. And they have those back channel communications. That way, I mean, if the NFL comes back and says, you're, interfering too early or you're having too early conversations, like, I didn't talk to the person. I don't know what you're talking about. So conversations happen. Let's face it. Every team is looking for a competitive advantage. Things are happening.
It's plausible deniability.
It's plausible deniability. So things are, look, if George Payton has made up his mind after this game, he's already going to be talking to people. The question is, are they going to make it official conversations where they can meet in person? Now, any coach that is still in the running for the playoffs, like Quinn from the Dallas Cowboys, they're probably going to say, look, we're about to make a playoff run. I'm too busy to talk to you right now. And they're going to wait until after they're either out of the playoffs or, whatever happens there. So, and I know I see there's a lot of comments and I appreciate all the comments, guys. Keep them coming. Hit that share button for us. I appreciate it. Again, this is the first post-game show we've ever done, but this game has a lot of implications for the Broncos. So we wanted to kind of, go out of our way to have a conversation with y'all as to where things stand. Here's one thing that I think, if anything is a nail in the coffin for Pat Shurmur, especially, is the fact that we won the turnover battle 3-0, and we still could not win the game. If you had told me before the game, hey, Kevdian, we're going to win the turnover battle 3-0, I would have laughed at you. Are you kidding me? You're telling me Drew Lock's not going to throw a single interception? I'll admit it. I picked up the Dallas Cowboys, the Las Vegas Raiders defense on my one playoff fantasy team because I figured they'd at least get one interception. the fact that you're telling me Drew Lock's not going to throw a single interception in this game, and 2, we're going to lose the game, I would have laughed in your face. There's no way. But what this shows me is a combination of execution and coaching on the offensive side, and that falls on Pat Shurmur.
So just to roll back just a second to what you just said, the fact that Drew Lock did not throw any interceptions and we mainly passed the entire game, I think he improved, which gives me hope that we keep him around and see what happens next season.
Yep. Well,
you know, I mean, let's just say for argument's sake, we
time it really quickly. I'm going to take a break. I want you to go on a roll with that. I will be right back.
Cool.
Roll with it.
So, you know, for argument's sake, let's say that we get rid of Teddy Bridgewater and we keep Drew Lock as the number 2. You know, let's see what happens next season. Maybe we get Aaron Rodgers. Maybe we get Russell Wilson. I don't know how true it is, but supposedly, Andrew Luck wants to get back into the league. And, you know, I mean, he's no Peyton Manning, but he's pretty dang good. Just kind of going through these comments here. Unfortunately, I don't have control, so I can't put them up, but I can read them off. Nicole, what he said about the no interception, I'm hoping that we keep him as backup. Absolutely. Keep Drew Lock as a number 2. You know, let him learn, especially if we get, Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Andrew Luck or somebody of that caliber. You know, we keep him in there and, let him learn, let him grow. Get a new coaching staff in there, hopefully somebody that's freaking competent. But yeah, no, absolutely. Gary, I agree. Head coach and OC don't line him in like him, in my opinion. Yeah, I said that on previous shows that I feel like Fangio is trying to stonewall Lock. I don't know. It's Nicole, what QBs do you like in the draft? I haven't really looked into the drafts the QBs of this draft. From what I have seen a little bit, it doesn't look too promising, at least this year. Next year's quarterback class, from what I read, looks a hell of a lot better. But, you just never know. Especially, drafting, quarterbacks out of college. College and the NFL are completely different. The NFL is a faster game than college. College, they run a lot of schools run a lot of shotgun and West Coast type offense. And so, it all depends on who the offensive coordinator is, that we get in here, who the head coach is, and where they want to take the team. But it's almost like everything kind of, intertwines into everything else. So you make one decision and that's a domino effect on everything else. Jerry, we need all new QBs. Locke has let us down too many times. I also agree with that. When he has gone in there, he's just not looked like the way that we thought he would. But then he has games where he just shows and flashes brilliance, and you're just like, why can't this QB play like this all the time? So, Jerry, I definitely agree with that as well. And it's just one of those things. We just have to wait to see what happens in the off season, the QBs in the draft and everything like that. But, I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel on it. And we just kind of have to wait and see. Like Kev was saying, we're at this point right now where we just kind of got to sit back and wait and see what happens. And absolutely. Shurmur absolutely 100% needs to be gone. I
Second
was not
and 17, run up the middle. Really? Really, dude? It's 2nd and 17 and you're going to run up the middle? Okay. Yeah. They'll never see that coming.
Well, and I mean, look at that one play that, the one of the last plays of the game, the Raiders were running the ball, trying to kill the clock, and then they run a passing play out of a running formation. Like that's the kind of coaching that you need. Like they'll never see it coming. we're going to run the ball. Oh, no, we're going to pass it to the tight end over the top. Like,
No.
that's the kind of play calling that needs to happen.
Yep.
And Shermer just is not it. He needs to just be gone out of the end. Send his ass to Jacksonville.
Hey, big shout out to my my main man Mike Edwards there, dude. You're fucking awesome. Love you, man. Glad you're watching. Now while I was gone, I didn't hear anything you said, so I want you to repeat from the beginning. I'm just kidding. I don't.
Hey, Kev, you can watch it on the replay, bro.
I don't want to do that. That's a lot of work. Let's see. Going back here. Let's see. Kimani, I don't think I've seen your name here, so welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Appreciate it. Appreciate you tuning in. And I hope I said your name right. If I didn't, I apologize. In fairness, Locke has not really started a full season, and he's had 2 different offensive coordinators. He needs a good QB coach. So this is something that especially Rob's been saying, but me too. Look, let's say that for some reason we let him go in the offseason, and he goes somewhere with a good offensive coordinator, with a good QB coach, and he just lights it on fire, and he just goes off and does amazing. We're all gonna be sitting here kicking ourselves in the ass, right? Like Broncos country in general is like, I can't believe we let him go. Look, yeah, you don't know. I would prefer him as our backup over Teddy Bridgewater with this game in mind. Seeing that he didn't turn over the ball at all. I think he has a higher ceiling than Teddy Bridgewater does. What Teddy Bridgewater's ceiling is what we've seen this season. This is his ceiling. This is the best Teddy Bridgewater can do. And it's not terrible, and I'm not trying to be mean to him or anything. I'm not trying to belittle him. He's much better than I could ever be. But I'm saying in terms of a backup, I would rather him be the backup for the Broncos than Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, and let's also face it. Look, if we re-sign Teddy Bridgewater, it's going to cost us more money than if we try to keep Drew Lock. Drew Lock, we're maybe going to keep or get a couple late round picks out of him than anything else.
I think we could keep Lock on a let's just say a 2-year deal, cheaper than we could by re-signing Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Andrew, so my criticism for Shermer this game is in previous games this season, and the majority of the season, I have said, and most of us here at Orange Weekly have said, that he has given up on the run game way too early. The last few weeks have been better, but still he's given up on the run game way too early. We're down by 3, and he's like, oh my God, panic. We need to give up on the run game and throw the ball as much as possible. With Teddy Bridgewater, that's not a good option, right? In this game, we had 16 rush yards. We averaged 1.1 per carry, and Melvin Gordon had negative 0.6 yards per carry. We didn't have a run game for us to give up on. So in this game, we didn't run the ball. There was you could almost say there was a commitment early on and it wasn't working. But good Lord, you have 16 rush yards, and that's one of we were tied for 9th in the league in rushing yards, or at least in our rushing game. And this game dead last. By a lot. You can't rush for 1.1 yards per game and say that you're a competitive rushing team. Our offensive line, and the only person we were missing from the offensive line was Cushenberry, which, you miss one person from that. The offensive line is a team. You could say that you replace one person and then the whole dynamic changes. That's possible and plausible, and I could believe that. But it's not like Schlottman is new to the organization. But it just, even Williams couldn't get anything going. He had a couple okay runs, but nothing fantastic. Williams ran, oh my God, his average was 1.7 yards per carry for 12 yards in the game.
And to Nicole's point, Schlottman, for being thrown in there for his first start, he did better than anybody probably would have expected. But
I did better
again,
than I would do.
it's right. But again, it's just one of those things. Like when especially we said it earlier with Locke. When he's not getting the reps and he's just getting the mental reps, and then he gets thrown in there, like it's basically go in there and do the best you can, buddy. Like,
Right.
There can't be any expectations. You can't be like, you got to throw 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right, Andrew, I see what you're saying. I did criticize him for not rushing enough, but then rushing on 2nd and 17. Yes, it's very situational. In 2nd and 17, you should not be rushing up the middle. If anything, try to get to the outside. If you want to call a rushing play, go to the outside. But in 2nd 17, in the first half, that just basically tells me that you've given up on that drive. You're just trying to get better punt position. I don't know. Look, Chris, you know what? Dead on, Chris. Good job, Locke, with 0 picks. That's, before this game, Locke was 25 touchdowns with 25 turnovers, whether that be interceptions or fumbles. Mostly interceptions, but some fumbles in there as well. But I don't know. So good job on Locke.
Now he's 25 touchdowns and 25 picks.
Yeah, right. Nicole, I could see if I was a person that bought player jerseys, I would want a Javonte jersey. I don't buy player jerseys because I don't know how long they're going to be around, and I'd rather have a jersey that I can wear for the foreseeable future. You just never know with player injuries and trades and all that stuff, right? So, but I would not be surprised to see a whole bunch of Javonte jerseys walking around the stadium next year. He could very well, if you're talking about a future face of the franchise, PS2 and Javonte Williams, and or a combination of whoever the new quarterback's going to be, could very well be the face of the franchise. And that's what we've been missing since, especially since Philip Lindsay left and Von Miller. Those two guys were the two main faces of the franchise. So what are we going to do now? Man, look, sitting where we are right now, Rob, what do you say our chances would be that we get either Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good for you, Nicole. I think I'm going to go the same route. Kevin, to your question, I gotta kind of weigh the pros and cons. I like Russell Wilson. I'm not a fan of how short he is. I think he is talented. Obviously, he whooped the shit out of us in the Super Bowl that we made it to, where the team didn't even get off the bus. So I have a little bit of salt in the wound from that. But honestly, I like Aaron Rodgers, and I did bring up the fact of the picture that you sent us in the group chat about how Andrew Luck wants to come back into the league. And so, I kind of went over that, briefly. He's not a Peyton Manning by any stretch of the means, but if he's healthy, I still think I would lean towards Aaron Rodgers just because he's the Peyton Manning-esque type of player where he may not be able to beat you physically, but he can beat you mentally.
Yeah.
He knows your defense inside and out. He knows what you do, during what situations, and he can counter that. Do I think Russell Wilson can do that? Maybe not as well as Aaron Rodgers. Do I think Andrew Luck can do that? We'll see. He's been out of the league, what, a year, 2 years now?
3 years? I think it's closer to 3 years, man.
Yeah, 2 years, 3 years.
3 years now.
So, he's going to be a little rusty. I'm going to lean towards Aaron Rodgers. Plus, my brother's girlfriend is a giant Packers fan, and I just really want to show up to her house with an Aaron Rodgers Broncos jersey and go, "You're welcome."
You're welcome. Now, look, when I sent that to our group chat, do I really think that Andrew Luck should be a Bronco? No. The only thing is, look, John Elway was drafted by the Baltimore Colts, and we won a Super Bowl with him.
Damn, you're going back, Kev.
Peyton Manning. Oh, yeah. If anyone says he was drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, you're wrong. It was the Baltimore Colts, but it was still the Colts. We won 2 Super Bowls with him. Peyton Manning, Colts. We went to 2 Super Bowls, 1 Super Bowl with him. If there's, look, I'm a luck guy. If there's any kind of luck the Broncos could get, it would be like, let's go get Andrew Luck. Because one, his last name's Luck, and two, he was drafted by the Colts, and that's the only way we can win the damn Super Bowl. Okay, but not really. Not really. I don't.
Let's just hope our offensive line.
I like the guy, though.
Better than Indy did.
Yeah, exactly. I like the guy. Andrew Luck was a great guy. I hope he makes it back to the league. I know I figured he wanted to. He just needed some time to recoup, get healthy, feel human again, and work his way back into the league. There's a whole thing there. Comments. Gary, yeah, Surtain could be a face of the Broncos as well. I could believe that. Donnie Claus, I feel faith that Drew just needed the right coach to help him out. We talked about that earlier. Agreed. And if I skip your comments, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep up with everybody's comments. I appreciate how interactive everybody's being. This is exactly why we do this show. Kimani, if we trade Williams or Surtain, I'm going to have major questions about George Payton. Like, you have two players that you could build a team around, and you're going to trade one of them. I would have major questions. So I seriously do not see that happening. So I'm seeing some political comments in here, just so you know. We don't go there. That's just not what we do. Whatever you feel, vaccinations, presidents, political parties, we don't go there. Don't comment on that because we're just not going to talk about it. That's just.
I like Chris's comment. Can we draft an OC?
Can we draft an OC? Right. That would be.
Wait, can we trade a 7th round pick for an OC?
You know, it's possible to trade coaches, so it's not impossible.
Bro, I'll trade the next 3 years of 7th round picks for a competent offensive coordinator.
There you go. Sarah, I saw you commented in here. Here it is. Will Teddy be back up this season? And I heard GM of Packers won't. So here's what I would do. I would look at Teddy and say, look, dude, well, first off, we got to see if he clears concussion protocol this week. Because as of today, he wasn't cleared off concussion protocol. He would not to even be the backup. I would look at Teddy and say, dude, and who was it that says, Chris, are we out of the playoffs or do we have a small chance of making it? We have not big of a chance. According to DenverBroncos.com, us losing to the Raiders gives us a 1% chance of making the playoffs. Are we mathematically eliminated? No. Do we have a small chance? I mean, you're talking about the smallest. I mean, you could go into the percentage of a percentage, you know, like a 0.8% chance of making the playoffs. But look, we have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. Okay, guys, like Jared would argue with me, and I'm sorry, Jared. I'm going to argue against your calculator. I don't care if we have a 1% chance. It's a 1% chance. I'm not going to take those odds. We're done. Okay. I would look at Teddy and say, hey, Teddy, you've been injured a couple times this season. There's no there's no logical reason for you to go back out on the field. Like, let's throw Teddy or let's throw Drew out there, let him play. You can get a couple extra weeks of rest going into the offseason. You can be our backup in case something happens. There's no reason for you to be our starter. What I suspect is going to happen, though, is Vic Fangio is going to say, I still have 2 weeks to prove that I can save my job. And as long as Teddy is healthy, imagine somebody cutting Teddy Bridgewater right down the middle, throwing half of him away, and Teddy can still like hop around. Vic Fangio is going to go, I want you over Drew Lock. That's essentially what he's going to say. Yeah, I want you to start. Okay. So I would imagine that Teddy comes back out for no good reason. At this point, it doesn't visual, matter. Kev. Dude, think about it. Like, that's exactly what would happen. Like, dude, you have half a brain and half a body. Yeah, I'd rather you have, control of the ball than Drew Lock. That's what Vic Fangio is going to do. I think that's wrong, but I'm not being paid to be the head coach.
Yeah.
And now
I don't even know how to
everybody is
follow that up,
imagining
Kev.
this. Like,
I'm
do we
like
cut his
sitting here,
jersey in half too? Like, what?
just as I mean, I guess as long as it's the side with his throwing arm, I mean, there's still a chance, but still, yeah, I don't know. Like I've said before, I felt like Coach Fangio was, was stonewalling, Locke, and that again goes back to just having a competent staff around him. Peyton Manning had that quarterbacks coach out of Duke, and he wound up on the Colts staff. I wish he was still able to coach quarterbacks because that might be of benefit to us for sure.
Right. Yep. I'm trying to pull up. Let's go ahead and pull up post-game press conference and just listen to it for a little bit. I just want to hear what Fangio has to say in general. So stick around, guys. Keep the comments coming, and we'll talk about what Fangio has to say after this. Maybe if I get the sound going.
When you look at it, it was 14 carries for our running backs for 8 yards. So, Drew got 10 on scrambles. But, it was disappointing. We'd been running the ball well. They did a good job up front on us. We never could seem to get our backs through the first wave of the defensive line, and we had a hard time finding any room in there. I was, up and down. I mean, it's hard to say anything. You get 158 yards of offense and 8 first downs. It's hard to say anything good about the offense.
Weird.
No, they were late spot. I wasn't sure if it was 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3. They were late putting the ball down. It happened on the other sideline. So it put a delay in the action there. And Brandon was a little upset that he, didn't know early enough to go out there. But it was nothing anybody can do. Not his fault, not my fault. We didn't know what the down and distance, whether it was 4th and half a yard, what it was. If it was less the yard or less, I was going to go for it. And we had to wait for the spot.
You think losing Christian really might have hurt your overall operation up front?
That's possible. Not seeing the tape yet, but anytime you lose a good player, it does have an effect on you. Yeah, that was a fantastic play, and obviously.
Maybe I might have lost it. I hit too many buttons. I'm sorry, guys. Where to go? Come on. Hit play. Oh, this is like players.
You got to go
Waiting for
back.
a player. Here we go. I heard enough from him. See what Ryzen has to say.
All around you. The playoffs now.
Yeah, it's tough. Just like as you could imagine, Troy, you take a lot of pride in your work. You do this 365 days out of the year, and you love your teammates and you love everyone in the organization around you, and you want to win. And you have opportunities to do so, and the offense just didn't do that today. I'm not an offensive coordinator. I can't speak on any position other than the offensive line, and us 5 know that we have to be better.
Ooh.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
And that's the only question he answered.
There might have been like one other, but he definitely threw some shade at the OC. I'm not the OC, so I'm not going to answer
Yeah,
that.
exactly. He was like, nah.
Boom!
Yes.
Sorry, who's that?
Got shorter than that spot.
Yeah, I thought that, I thought it was a little bit closer, but, they saw how they saw it, and, it's no way of really arguing it. So, kind of just got to move on from it. There's nothing else we really could do about it. Once they mark it, we could try to challenge it, but it seemed like they were pretty firm on where they thought that the ball should have went. So, just kind of got to move on from it after that.
I'm guessing he's talking about that 4th down with the field goal attempt.
Yeah, the mindset is, everything is still in front of us. We got 2 games ahead of us. Teams are losing around us and, almost, making it almost like a divine thing that it could and possibly should happen, maybe, you know. But, you know, it's on us, you know. All we can control is, you know, attitude and effort going into this week of the Chargers and making sure that we maximize this opportunity, because we don't know what can happen. We don't know what teams are going to lose, you know, going into these last 2 weeks of the season. So it's on us to make sure that we maximize these next 2 weeks and you know, not let them slip because of the 2 losses that we just had.
Offense has struggled past 2 games, 13 today, 10 last week. We'll put your finger on what the issue is.
You know, you know, all we do is go in each weekend. You know, we watch the film, figure out what may not have worked well, and you know, try to work on it. You know, that's our job, is to, you know, try to fix those things that might not be working, you know, as well as they possibly should. You know, in terms of a specific thing being the issue, it's, you know, it's a accumulation of things. You know, I know today, you know, finding out that we went 1-10 on third down, which was, you know, obviously you're not going to win a lot of games. Having that type of success on third down, that's a huge one. You know, we got to make sure we're maximizing those opportunities. But it's just, you know, it's a combination of a lot of things. You know, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot when we get like a 3rd and manageable, you know, get a penalty, and now we're looking at 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 20. All those things are things that, you know, play into account whenever it comes into this stuff. But you know, all we do is control what we can control. And, you know, this game is behind us. We got to go watch the film and break it down and try to find those things that may be, you know, this is the thing that we need to work on, or that's the thing we need to work on, whatever it may be. But, you know, it's on us to go and watch the film, break it down, and, you know, get ready for the Chargers.
All right. I'm going to stop it there. So there you go. Some comments from some players and the coach and everything. You're right, Kamani. Fangio, the same sad speech. Is Pat Shermer really watching film? I mean, I guess he is. Does he care that whatever he's doing is clearly not working for 2 seasons in a row? Probably not. And look, here's my thing is, you can't just blame the players and you can't just blame the coaches. To me, it's a cyclical thing. You know, players got to go out there and execute. If players don't execute effectively and continuously and efficiently, that's a reflection on the coaching. The coaching needs to be better. If the coaching, you know, the play calling isn't great, that's a reflection of the coaching, but the players still need to execute. So it goes around and around. It's to me, it definitely does go back to coaching, though, is the main foundation, though, because of holding people responsible and accountable. If you're not executing, why are you out there on the field for multiple years in a row?
I don't know, Kev. It's a never-ending circle of bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
One hand doesn't wash the other. Like, you know, you got to work together, and as Ayla loves to say, you got to gel and you got to do it correctly. But, you know, I don't know, man. It's so freaking frustrating because you hear, you know, it's like he's doing the Vance Joseph dance. Like, we had a great week of practice and, you know, we look so good. And then we come out on the field and we look like a damn JV team. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm going to adapt the same feeling of just being numb to it, and I'm not going to get pissed off about it anymore.
That's kind of where
there's no fucking point. I can't change anything about the game. I can just hope that, you know, we have a good game plan and hope that, you know, we win the game, and all we have is hope. Damn it.
Right. Look, there's still a chance we beat the Chiefs for the first time in 12 games or in 13 games. So, but
After
Andrew
they hung up 40 points today? Oh no.
Well, that was against the Steelers. So, and when we play them, hopefully by the end of the season, they have the number 1 seed locked in place. You know, they're resting their starters, and we can at least say that we beat the Chiefs. Take away the asterisks of they rested their starters. We at least beat the Chiefs for the first time in 13 games. So, but Andrew and everybody else who's watched this entire show for the last hour, I really appreciate you guys sticking with us. Like, that's fantastic. It's cool. It's cool to see the same names at the beginning of the show pop up at the end of the show. You guys are fantastic. So it does go higher. We need proper owners. And you see what happens to an organization that is not effectively and efficiently run. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. Is since Pat Bowlen, rest his soul, has left the organization, you see what's happened, and it's been terrible. Nobody's held accountable. Hopefully, with George Payton running the show, and we get a new owner in charge, and start being able to hold people accountable in the right ways according to the league, we can move on. So, Dan, appreciate it. Nicole, you're awesome. Yeah, come on. Hopefully, we can beat the second and third string of the Chiefs. I mean, that'd be cool. Like,
So
what's
Kevin,
what's gonna
happens-
come to is the coaching. Can we out coach the Chiefs and all of them, and even with their second and third string? Who knows? We will find out.
So what happens if I doubt anything is gonna be set in stone, for the playoffs or whatever. But what happens if we, find out, hey, we're eliminated from the playoffs? Do we play the second and third string to see what we have in those positions?
No, I think it's still going to be left up to. I predict that Fangio will not get fired until Black Monday. Day after the last game there, and he's going to go out there and he's going to play all of his best players in a last-ditch effort to hopefully show that he should stay the head coach. For anything else, he can say, "Look, I'm going to fire Shermer and move on with my life." And you can keep me. So I don't expect us to treat it like a preseason game, if you will. Now I do want to pull up this, Nicole. When it shows that there's no comment here, I'm assuming you sent us stars, and I do appreciate that if that's what happened. If not, again, you're one of the ones who've been watching this whole time and the halftime show, and I've seen your name before, so you're awesome, and I appreciate it. I really do. Let's see, Daniel, my thought is if you need help getting in the playoffs and you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. I'm going to end the show with this comment right here, pretty much. Oh, yeah, no, it just, the program here that we use, the streaming thing, it doesn't show how many stars or what. We've learned that when it shows that there's no comment but a name pops up, that there were stars that were sent. So definitely appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who's watching, who likes the show, who shares the show. You're all fantastic. Seriously, you mean a lot to us. That's exactly why we do this, is for you all, stars or no stars. But you're all stars in my eyes. Ooh. Let's see. But yeah, Dan, I'm going to kind of end the show on this thought here and I talked about this at halftime. This team, even you could say, yeah, well, Drew Lock was the backup QB, but Drew Lock's had starting experience. This team all season and the previous season and the last 6 seasons hasn't had the fire. They haven't had the passion. They haven't had the drive that even if they were to get into the playoffs, don't make me believe that they would even win a playoff game. You have to have that passion, that drive, that we are dying. We as a team are dying to get into the playoffs. We as a team are dying to win the Super Bowl, not just get to the Super Bowl, but win the Super Bowl. And this team has not had that direction, had that effort, had that passion since Peyton Manning. And to say that we ever will, I mean, we will. Well, look, we're the Broncos. Diehard fan base, a team that is built on winning. We'll get there again. I promise you that, and we will win more Super Bowls. And us as Orange Weekly, we're going to be here for the foreseeable future. We're not going anywhere. But the Broncos need to find themselves, and they just haven't under the previous head coaching staffs. And I attribute that to the ownership issues. Yeah, John, it's time to clean house. Andrew, take care, man. Glad you're here. Special teams coach. I will say that Tom McMahon will be around on the Broncos for the next 20 years because clearly he has some blackmail on somebody there.
Kevin, stop putting that out in the universe.
No, why is he not fired? Why was he not fired last year? He has something on somebody. Okay? He's going to stick around. Not because I want him to, but because he has something on somebody. Okay?
God, I hate that guy.
Me too. Good Lord.
And hate's a strong word, but shit.
like Fangio, like why would you bring him back? That says so much about your leadership and your coaching ability that you're not going to fire that guy. What makes me think that you're going to fire Shermer? That tells me that you would rather, like, if George Payton goes up to Fangio and says you have two options, fire Shermer or leave with Shermer, Fangio would say, I'm going to leave with Shermer. And it doesn't make any sense. That's a stupid thing to say. Any person in the reasonable mind would say, okay, well, I'm going to fire Shermer. But to me, that tells me that Fangio is going to say, no, I'm going to keep Shermer and I'm going to leave with him. Okay, dude, bye. Anyway.
Dude,
we're getting into off-season stuff.
I don't get
awesome,
it.
Kamani. We'll be in the off-season, believe me.
I don't know.
Brian, I hope we at least go 8-9. I at least hope we win one of the next two. At least. Because that means we'd like lose 4 or 5 in a row or something. I don't know. But Sarah, could you please tell us the times we'll be on again? I'm over on the East Coast. So I will do a quick rundown, and our numbers of viewers are dropping, so it is about time for us to head out. Monday night, Orange Weekly After Dark. As soon as Monday Night Football is over, Jason will go live for the Monday Night Orange Weekly After Dark show. Tuesday night is our Bourbon Broncos No BS show. That starts at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. We also have our pre-recorded shows, the pregame podcast, the postgame podcast. You can find those on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. But we are live on YouTube only for that. We also got the tailgate talk, which is about 1 hour before kickoff, and then our halftime hash. That is, of course, during halftime. So make sure you check us out during that. And during the off season, during the main parts of the offseason, such as free agency, I think, around the combine, the draft, and all that stuff, we do main shows then. We also do some fun shows like it's Broncos trivia, just to, do some fun things with you all during the offseason. And so we'll be doing that. So make sure you check us out. Just look for, make sure you follow us on Facebook, especially, but if not Twitter and Instagram. We'll be posting when we go live, and all that stuff. So it's not like we go dead quiet during the off season. We just kind of take our own little break because we're quite busy during the season with all of our shows.
And also, if you guys do subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can turn on notifications, and you will get a notification when we go live. So you will not miss that. Orange Weekly Podcast, YouTube.com.
Boom. It's right there. It's right there. Just type it in. orangeweekly.com/C/Orange Weekly Podcast. That's us. That's us. So there you go. Mad and I'm sad and I'm drunk. Come on. Okay, cool. Okay, Rob, thanks a lot for joining me during this not so happy. I was really hoping we'd have happy things to talk about, but of course that didn't happen. So
hey, hold on. I got one more positive thing. I said Jerry Jeudy was going to have a good game. Granted, he only had 3 catches, but he had 60 yards.
Pretty good.
That's
game he's had in a long time.
That's about it, bro.
That hurts. Okay. Yeah, with that, make sure you check out our post-game podcast. We'll cover a lot of the same stuff and talk about more specifics of the game itself. But you guys can check that out later. So, Rob, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you as always. To all our fans, again, follow us. We do this for you. I talk about the Broncos to people all the time. My wife usually tells me to shut up, which is why we have Orange Weekly, so I can talk to you guys about the Broncos because none of you tell me to shut up. When
Kevin's wife takes him out in public, he's usually bound with duct tape over his mouth.
Well, and it's Denver Broncos duct tape. That is a thing, and I bought it, and I have some.
It's still duct tape, bro.
It's still duct tape. So. Okay, everyone, you take care. Rob, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you. But
hey, let's keep the faith.
Drink in hand.
As always,
next year. Go Broncos. Take care, everyone.
Do what I like, yeah, do what I like, yeah, do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro.